ladies and gentlemen, as Alec does something, I don't know what he's doing. Look at all of this fantastic content right here on the Unlimited YouTube channel. You know what you should do after you watch this podcast? You should subscribe to this damn channel because it's just that damn good. What is up, everybody? This is the Unlimited Podcast. I'm Matt from Unlimited. We're here to talk about the Elimination Chamber and give our little show review here. Joining me, of course, is Brett Litke. Brett, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Last night, Walter and I reviewed Smackdown, and Walter's not here tonight, so I'm immediately 10 times better since I don't have to put up with his BS. And I'm going to be going to Snoop Dogg after this podcast, so I might have to bow out a little early. Bow wow. This podcast, I'd like to officially announce that I'm dedicating this to all my West Coast gangsters from Alberta West. So peace out.
As opposed to Alberta East. We don't talk about Alberta East.
And I have a bone to pick with my other guest because last night when we were doing, when Brett and Walter were doing the Raw and SmackDown review, Mr. Alec Costival decided to kill me off. And I would just like to say that I'm alive and well, so don't believe any of the crap that he says. But just say hello to him. What's up, Alec? How are you?
I said nothing false about Meffy in that eulogy I gave last night. So if you want a window into the real world of Meffy, you should definitely take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Butterfly in the sky.
By the way, Kevin,
I can get twice as high.
By the way, Kevin, if you're watching, I want you to look at Alec's eulogy from last night's video. Take notes, because that should be your eulogy for Brett.
Yeah, this is an agreement that goes back to 2014. Kevin, you will read my eulogy in 67 years, and if you don't, well, guess what? You're fired from Unlimited, even though you're not even hired with Unlimited.
Oh, Brett, I do. On an actual serious note, I do want to congratulate you on your engagement. We're proud of you that you're doing some serious things and not just being a worthless person.
It's the first serious thing I've done since 1998 when I had chicken pox, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Good. I mean, I'm happy that it's not a second bout of chicken pox. And I mean, of course, this time it would be the shingles, so that would probably even be worse.
Yeah, that's a whole nerve issue. And Alec, I got to tell you, I wouldn't want to do this show if I had shingles.
I mean, I couldn't say I would want to either. So
I was gonna say I would hope you won't want to, or you wouldn't want to.
I mean, even if I was shingling a roof, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, like our dedication to this channel and you, Matt Meffy, it runs deep. But so there are lines that we will not cross as talent.
And that line is shingles, either the disease or actual roofing shingles. We just can't go. I can't do this.
This is the most bizarre start to a podcast ever, but we need to talk.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, no, there's probably been more.
Okay, thank you. I was going to have to pull up John Cena out of nowhere.
This is true.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you did start off a podcast with that. I remember that. But yeah, Elimination Chamber, second to last stop before we get to WrestleMania, took place in the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Let's just say, for the record, this has been one of the most bizarre weeks in wrestling because you follow up a solid Elimination Chamber show with two episodes of, like, one episode of Raw and one episode of SmackDown that were just, bizarre. This has just been a bizarre week in general. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Brett?
First of all, I'd like to say I love the word bizarre. I want to make sure that that's officially known to our audience. But second, I want to say that I do agree. It is strange. Elimination Chamber was a fantastic show. It was a lot of fun. And I heard that there was panic in the backstage area, and that's why they called up these 4 NXT guys. But I thought it was very strange, considering that I thought they had a lot of positive momentum with the Elimination Chamber, so perhaps unnecessary.
True.
And I'm going to add to that, I'm a fan of the word Bizarrevark and am a advocate for the Bizarrevark comic book and animated series. But anyway, it was odd that they decided to pull up stars, especially such as Ciampa and Gargano, two guys who kill it on NXT, and then they left it ambiguous if they're rivals or if they're friends now, but they basically plopped them on the main roster and like, yeah, they're friends. Yeah, they've had their problems, but they work together now.
And like
that's not where it ended.
And like to do it without no real promotion to it.
No. And it's different if it's just Ricochet. Like, that's different. Because Ricochet is kind of like an entity you could just plug in. I don't see Ricochet as ever being a WWE champion, maybe a mid card champion. So I could see him plug in here or there. Similar with Aleister Black, but I think Aleister Black honestly has a presence that's amazing. I'm a big fan of his theme. Like that gets me pumped up every time I hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rock on. Rock on.
Rock on, freaky bro.
Alrighty. But going back to the Elimination Chamber, and we were talking to this like literally a couple minutes ago off camera. It felt weird and also a little bit refreshing that we had a pay-per-view end at around 10:15 my time. It didn't even go 4 hours.
Eastern Standard Time.
If you believe in time zones. That's only if you believe in time zones. Carry on.
And like I said, just to go from the Rumble, which was 7 damn hours of just basically just boredom, we go here and we get a short, solid show. I thought both Elimination Chamber matches delivered. I thought that there was some other stuff that was executed well and some other stuff that was just kind of there. But we'll get to that in a second. Brett, overall thoughts on the show? I know you kind of touched on it, but
On Elimination Chamber?
yeah.
I really did. I think it was a very fun show. I watched it with friends, which always helps, but this was a show to watch with friends because there was a lot to sell it on. I thought they started it right. I thought they ended it right. And usually if you get that formula correct, if you get those two, you get your two anchors, then you're doing all right for a show. So I have to say, like, it's not like I'm saying this was the greatest pay-per-view ever, but for me, it served the purpose of being a fun show that told a lot of good stories, and it's a show that I'll watch again. So, I mean, man, I had a good time.
Alec?
Like, there are some definite question marks. The whole feeding Ruby Riott to Ronda Rousey was very peculiar, but the way it ended, it was such a sweet, different note that I haven't felt in about 4 years. So it definitely did its job.
Yeah, and I'm going back to the formula that Brett mentioned. You know, when you have a show that has a good beginning and a good ending, you know, everything else in the middle, you know, it can be a little bit underwhelming, but still get the job done. But we also had that solid middle where you had that setup to WrestleMania, which was one of the only real setups to WrestleMania that we got this week, which was the whole Charlotte, Ronda, Becky thing, where Becky comes out looking all, you know, freaking like a badass and just coming out on crutches, and she just murders Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. I thought.
Did you see Charlotte's arms?
Like,
she looked like she went through domestic abuse. Like, that's how bad. And now I do not joke about that lightly.
Mm-hmm.
A serious joke. Everyone, please go support your domestic violence victims.
And you know, shout out to Walter Main, who's been a victim of domestic violence. He doesn't have a wife, but
he does have a cat, I assume.
It beats the shit out of him. So Walter Main, if you're watching this, hashtag pray for Walter. And there's nothing funny about Walter being beaten.
No, there isn't. The smile on my face, it's beaming in hope. that we can end domestic violence, especially in the main household.
Yeah, I just want to stop hearing Walter cry at night. That's what I want to stop hearing. And I think that this pay-per-view went a long way in trying to do that.
I think stopping Walter Main from crying at night will definitely convey towards the children of Africa who go hungry every single night. So I think this is the starting point for multiple causes.
Yeah, this pay-per-view you could say was a progressive show. I fueled a lot of rights, and so happy to be here.
Oh my God.
I'm happy that's where the bit ended because I couldn't do another part.
That Snoop Dogg concert of yours can't come fast enough, Brett.
No.
Alex is just as guilty in this as I.
I know. Oh my God. We at the Unlimited Podcast do not support the actions. I'm just kidding. But yeah. Let's start with the pre-show match. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. Buddy Murphy beats Akira Tozawa. It's on the pre-show. I don't care. Brett, did you see this match?
No, I was pouring myself a pre-rum and coke prior to the show, so I was at the bar. I just wasn't looking. But it sounded neat. Sounded good. I'll give it 5 bags for it. Okay. Sounded nice.
All right.
I heard Tozawa did some yelling and a possible suplex. So it's a definite highlight of the show. But in all seriousness, they had a great match at the Rumble. I assume it was a good match. I doubt I'll ever go back and watch it.
Yeah, probably. That's why you come to Unlimited, because we watch these matches and we give you our reviews. So
that's why there are so many subscribers.
I was going to say, we watch these matches so you don't have to, and we have a whopping 61 subscribers. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks to they're probably everyone from promo wrestling and maybe 5 people.
61 Unlimited maniacs who just can't get enough, and 5 sycophants that just can't stop watching Walter Main cry. We're doing great.
We kicked this show off with the right way, with the women's tag team chamber match. You had the Boss and Hug Connection win the belts. You had them face and beat Carmella and Naomi, Mandy Rose and Sonya, Nia, Tamina, the Iconics, and the Riott Squad. This match is one of those examples of WWE proving me wrong, because they didn't really give me any reason to care about this match, and it turned into a really good match. I thought that all 6 teams shined in their own ways. I thought that the use of the chamber was good. I thought that the action itself was good. It set up a couple good moments in the match. I liked this match. I am not really sure Sasha and Bayley were the right choice to win it, but I can forgive that because the match was historical, set up the first ever women's tag team champions. Fine with me. Brett, overall thoughts?
Considering that, arguably the top 4 women in the company weren't in it, if you want to include Ronda Rousey as a top 4 wrestler, I think she's earned that right. They did a fantastic job. I thought Mandy and Sonya shined. I thought, actually, I really liked that one spot where they had the Iconics and they were, they had kind of retreated back into the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a funny segment. I thought they played it well. I really, really enjoyed that match a lot more than I thought I would. Some people were saying, well, maybe it was a little bit too choreographed. I don't know. I thought if you really immersed yourself, they told a great story. It was a 5-bagger for me, for sure.
I was going to say, it could look choreographed, but still look good.
Exactly. There's a lot of matches nowadays with the amount of spots that they do that look that way. So I think it would be unfair to, diminish their match because of that.
Yeah. Alec, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was a little upset that it wasn't more iconic. But the Nia spot through the glass was cool. And I guess the Boss and Hug Connection is a decent champion. And are they going to pull a Shawn Michaels Marty Jannetty on us? And finally, this is the build.
I was hoping that they would start that at Chamber and them not win it. But
maybe them being tag champions does it.
maybe you do it at WrestleMania, but I don't know.
Meffy, can I ask Alec a question?
Sure.
Yes.
If the Boss and Hug connection broke up, what object would Sasha throw Bailey through?
Definitely a prop donut the size of a room. So she just goes through the hole into some secondary object. So it's 2 levels of object permanence.
She would obviously throw Izzy at her.
Izzy from Total Drama Island?
Don't you remember her biggest fan, Izzy? Is that still a thing?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about her. I hated her.
Was that still a I know you hated her. Was that still a thing?
I don't think it is. I don't think she's been around. I think she might have started wrestling? Question mark?
I'll be honest, if they brought back Izzy and then turned Bailey heel, I would love that.
I want to see that child cry.
All right.
I wouldn't pay to see it because that's just creepy, but I would like to see that child cry.
Yeah. We here at the Unlimited Podcast do not support the actions of Alec Costival.
Alec Costival at Unlimited does support children crying. It's a good way to get out your emotions. I think everyone should have a good cry. I cried the other day when I finished Kingdom Hearts 3. So just let it out, man. And
don't cry every night, or then you're Walter. Carry on.
If you or anyone else that you know want to talk to Alec about children crying, you can follow him on Twitter. It's in the description box down below. Anyway, second match, SmackDown tag title match. The Usos facing Miz and Shane McMahon. I was convinced going into it that the breakup of Miz and Shane would happen here. I'll be honest, though, I missed this match, so I don't know how good it was or how bad it was. I do think the Usos winning it was the right move. And now that I figured out that Fastlane was in Cleveland, I didn't know that at first.
Neither did I.
Now I think that that's the right place for them to do the split up, since it's Miz's hometown. The Miz's dad's going to be there again. And maybe it's not Miz turning. Maybe it'll be Shane turning. Who knows? Still some possibilities. But Brett, what are your thoughts?
I thought the themes in this match were absolutely outstanding. I mean, they're telling a great story where you have the Usos, who, you know, represented by their catchphrase, the Uso Penitentiary, who are representing this lifestyle that is conflicted and damaged and broken, but with a strong pursuit of obtaining some personal success, almost rising through the ranks of the streets to a form of non-street life. But of course, they're foiled against the brilliant Shane McMahon and the wonderful Mike Mizanin. And those two represent a higher life, a Greenwich, Connecticut, a Hollywood lifestyle. And they're combating with the Usos. And I thought, this is a terrific theme. I give it's a 5-bagger. It was a 5-bagger match, and the Usos won as well.
I mean, I just have to say what I want exactly to happen at Fastlane now. We know Mr. Miz is going to be in the front row. So let's have Mr. Miz turn heel first and drive his son and become his son's manager. And Miz just feeding off the pride of his father.
Maybe he could kick Shane right in the nuts.
Or Mr. Miz can turn.
He takes his folding chair that they gift the front row attendees and just goes thwop.
Or Mr. Miz can turn on the Miz.
Oh, a good father-son angle. Maybe the Miz's father says, you know what? You weren't even my son. Well, then he adopts Shane McMahon. Yes.
Nay.
Oh, no.
I believe Mr. Miz turns on the Miz name and changes his last name mid-match. And at WrestleMania, it's a change your name official form on a pole match.
Yes.
Vince Russo would be proud. Yeah, I got nothing else on this match. Handicap match, IC title. Finn Balor beating Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush.
I like to think this as the handy-capable match.
Yeah.
I don't think we can really target the handicap community. Major League Baseball first led the way with changing the disabled list now to the injured list. So I think WWE needs to follow suit and just call it an outnumbered match and not bring
just like
the handicap community into this discussion. It just promotes violence among the handicap community, and we have too many underground handicap fighting rings already.
Brett's trying not to laugh.
Well, it's true, though. I mean, you know, it is. I should say I'm trying not to laugh because it is a serious situation, and there are statistics out there that show that, you know, after WWE events where a handicap match is shown, the violence against handicapped people actually escalates. So I think it is time for that word to go away, and outnumbered match. I like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. The violence seen in handicap matches make regular people out on the street looking for a wholesome fight think, hey, this handicap person's just like me. That means it's a fair fight. Let's go. Let's get it on. Let's rumble. Best man win. You know how those fights are on the streets.
You don't want to see people punching people in wheelchairs. You know, if you're standing and you can run, you shouldn't be doing that. But, you know, when I see that happening after like Elimination Chamber on Monday morning, it's like, okay, it's gone a little bit too far.
Yeah, especially when you see someone get just thrown through a piece of glass from their wheelchair, with the wheelchair, actually, just to imitate something they saw on WWE. And I think WWE has it right by saying not to imitate anything that's shown, because unless you're someone like Dylan Messerschmidt, who is living the dream, it's just not possible.
Yeah, no, it's not good for the community.
Brett, what are your thoughts on this match?
Another one that told a great story. I mean, the story of a broken partnership between Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley, conflicted friends, but Bobby wants more. He wants to better the life of Lio Rush, but Lio Rush must learn from the great Bobby Lashley. And you pair that with Finn Balor, who looks cool in red and white. It's a 5-bagger. I mean, this is another 5-bagger. I can't give it not a 5-bagger.
Alec?
I mean, the rush that I got from this match, especially the Lio Rush, just did itself a favor, and I mean, it's nice to see Finn Balor actually get the IC title. I think if anyone, he's going to make it feel prestigious. I mean, this is the first Universal Champion, even though we think Brock and Roman, and that's pretty much it with the Universal title. That happened. He did that. So I think he's going to be really good for this title. I don't really want to see Bobby Lashley anything for a little bit more, because I'm really tired of Bobby Lashley.
I'm really tired of how they use him, because it's kind of like, oh, they're high on him, oh, they're not, or they're high on him, oh, they're not. Like, what are they going to do with him? Is he going to?
Now, that's something I just disagree with. WWE shouldn't be high on anything, especially on him. Him is a serious drug problem going around the United States right now.
Him will make you start liking Bobby Lashley matches just like me. And if I'm being truthful, I'm going to Snoop Dogg tonight. I expect I will see a lot of people smoking him. So,
yeah, I mean, I've seen a few friends being addicted to him, and it's just, I've seen it as early as 6th grade when the girls in the class were obsessing over the Jonas Brothers. I knew they were addicted to him. It's sad to see. It just really is.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Oh my God.
This is a
deep podcast right now.
It's very deep, between handicap beatings and him addiction and crying. Walter Main's serious domestic violence issue. We're trying to get through it. Tough conversation for everyone.
We at the Unlimited Podcast do not support the actions of Walter Main. Oh my God. In all seriousness, I'm fine with Finn as IC champion. Hopefully, if they do continue the storyline, even though I really don't want them to, they attack him every week, and maybe he slowly transitions back to being Demon, and he goes into Mania as that.
Wait a second, Meffy.
Oh God, here we go.
So you're telling me he's being outnumbered every night? Every single night?
This is correct.
So maybe a certain member of the clubs come to join. Some certain brothers who I've heard are good.
No, thank you.
It only makes sense. And then he gets a outnumbered match.
Yes.
Yes.
Outnumbered for everyone.
Outnumbered pay-per-view.
Oh.
That's actually that in all seriousness, that's actually a good name.
Yeah, outnumbered's not a bad. It's definitely
better than Fastlane.
Yeah, and it should think about it. It's like all multi-man matches. Like it's not even outnumbered matches. It's where a champion has to defend against 5 other people.
I was gonna say, do triple threats, do fatal 4-ways, do 6-pack challenges, do
battle royale.
Exactly.
15 entrants.
I like the number 15. Actually, in fact, I'm going to change. This podcast is now dedicated to the number 15.
This Unlimited podcast is brought to you by the number 15.
And going off that, I think one of the great organizations in the United States is the Pen 15 Club. And it's just such a respectable organization I've known since high school. I knew founders of the Pen 15 Club, and they inducted me, and it's changed my life.
Oh my God.
Pen 15 mighty.
Yes, he is. Oh God. Next match. Raw women's title match. If there was one dead spot on the card, it was probably this.
It was the match, not the after match, but the match was just so bad.
Ronda Rousey defeated Ruby Riott. Here's a question. The match we got on Monday Night Raw, why did we not get that on the pay-per-view? If you're gonna do that match, which I really don't think they should have anyway, why not just do the Raw match, considering the pay-per-view ended at 10:15 anyway, you had time to kill.
I'm pretty sure Ruby Riott only got a title shot because every other contender is in the tag team division now, so we need someone with some sort of credibility, which Ruby Riott really doesn't have.
I was gonna say, which makes me think, like, if you're just picking people to be in
based
a title
on
match,
availability,
yeah, then don't even bother doing a match. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I'd rather just see some rough, tough stimulation match.
Like, do something, like, completely skip. All right, I'm ignoring that. Completely skip over the Ronda Ruby match and just do the stuff that they did with Charlotte and Becky. Just do that. Otherwise, why are you wasting our time with this match? Like, there's no point to it.
Sometimes short matches are neat, and this was a short match, and I thought it was neat, so it's a 5-bagger for me.
I hate you. I hate you. Alec, thoughts?
I just want to know, what have been some examples of the other stops on the bag scale? What are some of the highlights of bag, 1 bag, 2 bag, 3 bag, 4 bag? Because all we hear about are 5 bags. So I want to know things that just weren't there.
Thankfully they make a lot of good movies and a lot of great wrestling matches. And, I've had the pleasure of reviewing a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes things just get 5 bags.
By the way, movie reviews coming to this channel very soon. Anyway.
You should have former president of LaSalle University's Film Society as one of your guests.
That's a Brett thing. That would be all him. So you'd have to go to him.
I love films.
There we go.
I love film that develops on the top of gravy. I think that is the greatest film of all.
What about pudding film?
See, I prefer the scum that floats to the top of a pond when that film develops. Oh.
It does kind of look like a it does sort of look nutritious when you see pond scum. It's like if I ate that, that'd probably be good for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the algae, which are themselves single-celled living organisms. Shout out to any single-celled living organisms out there watching tonight. I mean, you're really
Peace out.
who are driving us. Water bears, we love you. We love that you look like this. Like that's what means something to me.
Interesting fun fact, actually, the drug Him is partially created by pond scum. So that's early on in the creation process.
I mean, they say he is scum, so it just makes sense that him also is derived from scum.
Yep.
Before we get to our final two matches, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the next couple of videos that we are going to be putting out, go like our Facebook page. You can see it right here. The posts are loading. We update anytime there's a Q&A, anytime there's a podcast, anytime there's a new video. So go check that out, and go check out our Twitter page as well, at The Unlimited One on Twitter.
And you can challenge Walter to a fight on the Twitter account. So.
We're taking applications. Personally, we want at least 2 years of fighting experience. So please post your resumes. We'd love to see. The more experience, the better. I think Walter Main has had such an emotional struggle that he is considered a professional in the fighting industry.
Why do you wait till I take a sip to say that?
So therefore, it would be on even ground if someone, say, had UFC experience and wanted to fight. I think that would just be the most even fight, and I think it'd be great for the channel.
Keith Jardine, if you're out there listening, Keith, the Dean of Mean Jardine, we want you to come beat the shit out of Walter.
You know, Mike Tyson, Walter Main once said you talk funny, so come on down.
Plant one right on his jaw.
Yeah, and by that, we want you to plant daisies on his jaw.
Hey, Brett, before we get to the next match, what are your thoughts on Baron Corbin?
Boring Corbin. You know, Baron Corbin reminds me a lot of when you're like at the dentist office. And it's not like there's people around you that are annoying you. It's just the very fact that you're just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And you're just like, I'm not enjoying this. That's how I feel whenever I see him on the screen. I just kind of feel this anxiousness that I just need to get out. I need to be gone.
Yeah, no, fuck Baron Corbin.
All right.
I never liked him in NXT. I thought he has a couple good wrestling moves. Like, I love the Deep Six, and today's is cool too. But he's terrible. Like, he's just not entertaining. Like, your name is World Wrestling Entertainment. He can neither wrestle nor entertain. And I don't even think he lives on this world. I mean, that would just be a third strike.
I feel like before Braun Strowman came around, he was on the roster just so they can have a big guy, and
the big guy,
and he's just not anything special. And this no disqualification match with him and Braun Strowman, I mean, granted, we've already seen these guys wrestle in many configurations on Raw, so I didn't really care about this match. But then at the end, you get like this setup of apparently a new faction that's gonna start appearing more. Corbin, Drew, and who was the other one? I forgot. Oh, Lashley.
Forced heel factions are the worst thing of all time. Can we remember the League of Nations?
Can we not?
they you know what I mean? Forced heel groups are the worst thing ever. If you're gonna make a heel group, give me a reason why they're together, not just because they all will shit on your life.
Are you saying that the core wasn't a good stable? Is that what you're trying to state? Because
they had a great story beforehand. So therefore, they were established to us and why they might be working together.
Good.
But yeah, This match was just kind of there. It was a spot filler. Whatever.
You're a spot filler. We wait till our glorious captain, Tyler Harper, one day takes over.
And then we get to the main event. We've plowed through this show in 35 minutes. Main event, Elimination Chamber match, WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan defending his title successfully against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, and this week's MVP of the WWE, Kofi freaking Kingston.
Okay, Meffy, it's delayed, but I need to say it because I can't not say it. That's what she said. Off of, we plowed through 35 minutes. Like, there's the show in 35 minutes.
There is an eject button for a reason, Alec.
He raises a valid point.
I just can't take it seriously. With that phrase, are we not practicing phrasing anymore?
Yeah, Meffy, you really dropped the ball there. We have to admit.
Yeah. Now pick it up and continue on with the show.
Maybe my funeral yesterday was warranted. Yeah, Elimination Chamber, WWE Championship. This just made me respect Kofi Kingston even more. I loved the action in this match. I thought it was a really good match. I thought that the story they told with Bryan and Kofi was fantastic. Hopefully this leads to, well, this is going to lead to Bryan and Kofi at Fastlane. Hopefully this leads to even bigger things at WrestleMania involving Kofi as champion. But, you know, I don't want to be too hopeful because we all know what happens when we get hopeful.
I mean, it's about time Kofi Kingston gets some due. They say he's been in this industry 11 years, but I can tell you he's been on it longer, ever since Tekken 3. He went under the name Eddie at that time, but he was still his Jamaican gimmick, and those kicks, lethal. That's where he established himself in the Tekken franchise, and it just makes sense that they paired him with Xavier Woods, the video game guy. That's the whole setup, because he is from a video game. But in a serious note, I mean, that of course was, but one of my favorite finishers when I first started watching in 2013 was the Trouble in Paradise. So I'm really happy that Kofi Kingston is getting a shot.
Yeah, well, I was kind of talking with Alec about this off camera too. This match is the first one in a while that I was actually on the edge of my seat. And WWE has given me matches like that in the past, but it's been a while since that's happened. I was really into this match, especially Kofi. And at the time, at that one last false finish, I really thought that they were going to go with Kofi. But
yeah,
they went with Daniel Bryan. Hopefully this leads to bigger things. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
Kofi would be the first Black WWE champion, right?
Correct.
Like,
not counting The Rock.
Yeah, I don't think Samoa. It's not the same.
Well, he's half black, half Samoan.
Yeah, but Kofi Kingston's from Ghana.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, when we go back to The Rock, like, yeah, he's half black and half Samoan, but all WWE ever talks about is him being Samoan.
Yeah, that's very true. If anything, he was our first Samoan champion, even though he wasn't, because the fake Japanese wrestler Yokozuna was the first.
Baby. Brett, thoughts on this match?
If I could take this match and compress it into like a capsule form, I would take that capsule before I go to Snoop Dogg, because I believe it would give me the energy and the high that I would need to enjoy a concert of that magnitude. Why? Because this match was so good. This is a match that you're going to want to bring your children into the front room and sit them on the couch, and you'll want to bring grandparents and your aunties and your uncles and your cousins and your second cousins and your neighbor, and you're going to sit them down. You're going to say, let's watch this match together, because this really is a wrestling classic. It got me very excited. Just like Meffy said, I was right on the edge of my seat. And because of that, I like to be on the edge of my seat. I like to cheer, and I like to picture putting matches in capsule form in my mouth. it's a 5-bagger. Definitely a 5-bagger.
When WWE likes to say the phrase caught lightning in a bottle, they actually did. Kofi wasn't supposed to be in this match. They didn't have this idea. Maybe they did. Maybe they're psychic. I don't know. But the fact that he was in because of an injury and what conspired through the gauntlet match to get him there, it was beautiful. Like this reminded me of the build up for WrestleMania 30, and it made me feel good things.
It was also reminded me of the build up to WrestleMania 20 with Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. I really liked what they were going for. And going back to what you said, where you were just talking about, that's why when I watched SmackDown, when they kept hyping up that they were going to announce Bryan's opponent, I really thought it was going to be Mustafa Ali. And I'm like, if they do that, they're dumb. Not that Bryan and Mustafa wouldn't be a good match, because it probably would be. But the story that they told with Kofi, just to not do it at Fastlane or to not do it at WrestleMania, yeah, it just wouldn't work. I'm glad they went in the direction that they did. I liked the match. One of the better chamber matches, not the best, but one of the better ones. Any other overall thoughts on the show? Because we pretty much wrapped this up already.
It was a beautiful show. When I own the DVD of it, I will give it a kiss. It's a 5-bagger, and it was a pleasure to watch it and a pleasure to review it for Unlimited.
Excelsior.
Oh, man. All right. Well, this has been a relatively short Unlimited podcast, but thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like. And if you don't like this video, leave a dislike. If you want to see more content, then subscribe. And if you want more people knowing about us, share these videos. Go like our Facebook page. Go follow us on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter. Go follow Brett on Twitter. Go follow Walter on Twitter. Go follow Alec on Twitter. All of that will be in the description box down below. Be prepared for the Fastlane preview coming soon. The WrestleMania preview coming, obviously, as we get closer to WrestleMania. We'll get some more retro reviews, hopefully. Sorry that the videos last weekend weren't up. I had uploading issues all weekend. I don't know what happened to my laptop, but whatever. Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Brett, as always. I'm Matt from Unlimited. You have watched the Unlimited podcast.
No, you haven't.
Hashtag pray for Walter. Pray for Walter!